What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called Poor Things, starring Emma Stone, of course, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe the Great. I added that onto it. Yeah, it's like Sir Willem Dafoe. That's what other people call him. I call him Willem the Great. Okay? First of all, I want to discuss Emma Stone's career, if you mind, because it's been quite the interesting career. Okay, honestly, like ever since I've seen her come on, she's been a one-note character. She's been the Daria type in a lot of her early work, and yes, Aubrey Plaza was too. But she kind of, she made it work. She's doing different things now. I think we're talking about Emma Stone here, all right. And in 2007, Superbad came out. Now, yes, when this came out, this was a classic immediately. We never seen something like this in a while. You had a bunch of upcoming stars in that movie. You know who they are. And then we look at Emma Stone, and I'm not saying she wasn't an upcoming star, because she was, but that was the beginning of that one note character, the sarcastic girl who is just everything is a smart remark, and she'd rather be somewhere else at the time. Not saying she wasn't good at that, even though I think Aubrey Plaza's a little better at it, but it just seemed to be all she could do throughout the entire movie. Kind of an annoying character in that movie, Then in 2009, Zombieland came out. And then later on, of course, Zombieland 2, right? She was in both of those. Duh. And here we go again. She almost seemed like they took the other character from Superbad and they made her grow up. And now she's in Zombieland. Okay. They just didn't mention that she's the same character. Because that was also a great movie. There's 1 and 2 were good movies. But she's just the same person again. Mind you, it did add some interest to the movie. I'll put that in there. But I thought she was going to change it up just a tad bit. Obviously, someone just loves her playing this bland, dry, sarcastic person constantly. That's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like to me. All right, because there was no change up from this to that going in. But then in 2010, Easy A came out. Now, this is my favorite. One of my favorites from her. Because it was an early one. I honestly thought that this came out before the other two. I thought it was the first one she did. It seemed like it. But it wasn't. This is her first starring role that I saw. And the movie was quite interesting. She took on the Scarlet Letter approach. She was a redhead. So that all fit in quite well. She showed a little bit more range in her humor. And so I appreciated that. The change was a coming. The change was a coming. But then in 2011, The Help came out. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did watch The Help. I watched the whole movie. The only interesting part of the movie, in my opinion, was the pie. We know what happened with the pie. Okay. We know what happened. Now, in this movie, she wasn't the sarcastic one. Shocker. Yes, I am shocked. I was shocked. She played a totally different character from what she's usually playing. The character was kind of shy and kind of timid. And, even though it wasn't like a fantastic character, I appreciated that it was a change up from the usual. She kind of broke out of the norm and tried a little something different. And so her career, in my opinion, was kind of climbing up at this point, or it was showing some results that needed to be shown. Okay, some differences in the path and the kind of character she chooses to play constantly. And so I appreciated that. Now, the movie itself, not fantastic, just that one part. Of course, we all loved seeing that. But besides that, it wasn't anything on her behalf. But then in 2012, The Amazing Spider-Man came out, and part 2 later on, 2014. She was in both of them. I don't know why it's strange, but I only remember her in part 2 for some reason. I don't know. For some reason, right? It was that scene. It was that scene. If you don't know, I'm not going to give it away, but you know what it was. All right, and she just pretty much played not Mary Jane, okay? Not Mary Jane, the other girl that Spider-Man was madly in love with at one time. Did she stick out? Did she stick out like a sore thumb? No. She couldn't even stick out like a sore thumb in either one of those movies. Mind you, once again, those movies, not that great. Either one, not really that. The first one, a little better than the second, but yeah, it's not saying a lot. It's not saying a lot. And so her playing Gwen Stacy, I just got it, Gwen Stacy, in both of those movies, that was the biggest thing, the biggest uproar that she made with those films, okay? It was nothing fantastic, nothing to stand out and say, oh man, did you see that part where Emma Stone did what she did? Other than what happened in part 2. That's it. So we're kind of backpedaling a little bit here from The Help. But then in 2016, La La Land came out. And in 2021, Cruella came out. These two movies, the reason I'm mentioning it at the same time, because I didn't see neither one. Had no interest. And there's some big reasons behind that. First of all, La La Land, I don't do musicals. So immediately, I was turned down. Not down, I was turned off by that. I was turned off by that. I did not want to go through that. That pain, the singing. Didn't want to do that. So those movies, that movie, just no. Then Cruella, it was the remake of a villain from the 100 Dalmatians. And I was always questioning, why did they do this? What was the point of doing this? I don't understand. Cruella de Vil needed her own backstory? Prequel? Did she? And if you're going to do a prequel on Cruella de Vil, why not make it rated R? Make me want to see this. Because other than that, we didn't ask for that. No one did. We're not even asking for a 101 Dalmatians remake. Don't do that again. Please. None of that was asked for. Stop that. Moving on. Last but not least, I should say, in 2018, The Favorite came out. Now, I'm not going to lie. I love The Favorite. That was a good movie. Quite the different film, I might add. That she's never done a film like this until then. It was the beginning of a new age for her. Something new for her to do. Something expressive that actually was art. She was actually finding herself as an actress. And you could tell through this film, all right? It's her even agreeing to be in a film like that. Okay? That didn't hold back on a lot of things, you know. And so I feel like her leaving it at that point, it opened up another door for like, okay, what are we gonna do now? Where are we gonna go now? Because you just hit the jackpot with as far as your career, in my opinion. Even though that movie might have not done as good as maybe La La Land or whatever, but I don't care. To me, it's a cult classic, and she was a part of that, and she did a very good job of the role she played. And now we have Poor Things, and my question is, will Poor Things be an even further elevation in her career? Even better than what she's done in the past? We're about to find out. Let's go. Poor Things. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, you've seen the trailer. You've seen the weird ass trailer. Don't act like you don't know what this movie is. You try to ignore it, but you can't turn away. It's that crazy. It's crazy. It's an insane trailer alone. Just the trailer. So don't do this. Don't do this. We can't. We're not going to do it. You know. You know about this movie. Penalized. Immediately. Poor Things. Poor Things pretty much is kind of a play on Bride of the Frankenstein, or a modern look on that. Okay. It's about a girl named Bella who had a past life before she was reborn, and her rebirth was pretty much an operation of the child she lost brain located to the mother to live on. Yes, that's exactly how that happened. Okay, don't ask. I know, it's crazy, but that's what's going on with that. And so she has to all over again live her life and develop her brain slowly, her mental capacity and how to walk and how to think and live life all over again as a whole nother person. Okay, and while this is going on, she's just now figuring out who she might have been in that past the entire time. At the same time, she's living her life and exploring her sexuality and just how things work, even though she might not get it at times, but she's exploring all this. And she adventures with this guy who comes to the house where the doctor, what she calls Daddy God, is keeping her. And this played by Willem Dafoe. And Mark Ruffalo, as his character, comes over there and he kind of just takes her away. It's kind of like almost kidnapping, but they don't call that in the movie. He kidnaps her a little bit, and they go on this adventure that helps her explore herself a little more, all right, and kind of what she's capable of, what she didn't know she was capable of, and she finds herself. And as soon as she finds who she really is, and things start to develop even further, she starts to get a grip on her life. And that's pretty much the premise of the movie. Okay, it's very difficult to explain because it's a lot of complicated situations going on in that movie. Okay, positives. This movie gave me a strong Tim Burton vibe. Okay, from the beginning to the end. They even started in black and white. Okay, and she just seemed like the perfect Tim Burton girl. I've done a video on that a while back, and I didn't even think to add her. But now I know she was a part of that group. She was a part of that group. She fitted very well. This is the way she looked in the movie. The dark hair, it fit her. It fit her well, perfect. The oddness to this film, the strange things that were going on in this film. Everything screamed Tim Burton. I'm surprised Tim Burton did not direct this movie. I looked, it's not him. That's some other guy. Not Tim Burton. But it screamed Tim Burton. I kind of feel like Tim Burton was a little upset he didn't get a hold of this or think of this. He should have. He should have thought of this. I think he should have. Tim Burton, man. But the thing is, Tim Burton doesn't do rated R. So he does, just not often. So I really think this would have been the one that Tim Burton should have kind of considered a rated R, film because it has him all over this. So whoever the director is, and it's going to be at the bottom of the screen, they obviously studied Tim Burton. They obviously look up to him a little bit. It's obvious. Look, the way the cinematography, all that looks, that a film, the background, the landscapes, everything, how everything is just looks like a utopia, of a weird, strange utopia going on. It's a dream, if I might add. It looks like a dream sequence came to life. And you think it's like back off in the 1800s, but then you have these weird contraptions flying all over the place. And I know those are not air balloons. Those can't be air balloons. So it's already weird. Okay? Another positive. Emma Stone's performance was incredible. It was uninhibited. All right. She didn't hold back not once in this movie. When I say there was a sexual awakening in this for her character, there really was. And now I haven't seen like anything like this since the late 80s. Or maybe like the mid 90s. Okay, I'll go to the mid 90s with this. I haven't seen like anything like this since the mid 90s. As much sexual scenes there was in this movie, and references and things that the character did, it might make some people feel a little bit uncomfortable at times with this film. But if you're not ready for that, then don't watch it. If you're not ready, I'm just warning you right now. It's one of those films. It's a very artsy film, and you know, when it comes to artsy films, there's going to be some nudity. There's going to be sex. This definitely has that. She's trying to find herself, and Emma Stone brought that to life. She really was not afraid to do what she needed to do to express how much this character was trying to find herself in this movie. Okay. Another positive. The progression of Bella was amazing. It was immaculate. Like I said, she was given the brain of her daughter when she was rebirthed or brought back to life. So she started off with the mentality of a baby. And then it slowly came to that she started to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And the film knew how to perfectly show that. It showed it without any flaw to it. Okay, there was no stopping the progression of her mentality. At some time, she still kind of showed that her brain wasn't ready for certain things or to understand certain situations or things that happen in her life. But at the same time, it was climbing that ladder to understanding how the world works. And she proved to be a very smart person towards the end. I'm not going to say too much, but yeah, she caught on to a lot of things. Very clever. She became very clever, if nothing else. All right. Last positive. I enjoyed the subtle, dark humor in this movie. All right. It wasn't trying to put the humor in your face. It wasn't trying to be funny overdo it and trying too hard. It wasn't trying too hard. The jokes, they came in at the right time. They just came in at the right time. All right. There's some things you might not catch on to, but I think one thing that stood out to me was Mark Ruffalo's character and just how pitiful he was. He was a very pitiful man. At first, it looked like he was doing pretty good for himself. I thought he had confidence. When he had kidnapped Emma Stone's character and took her off, I thought he had a little confidence there. He was trying to show that he's the man. I got this. I'm gonna do what I want to do. But then when he started to realize that, Bella is not your usual girl, and he should have known this before he did what he did, it started to irritate the hell out of him. He could not take it. And just his reaction to all of this was hilarious. I think that was the funniest thing about the movie was him reacting to how she's not your typical woman. That was the whole thing. It was funny. It was funny because he he went insane. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle any of that. It's crazy. Negatives. Carmichael was completely useless in this movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Carmichael is this young comedian, all right, just coming up. He's in this movie. When I saw him in the trailer, I thought, his character might be something interesting. But then when you watch the movie and you see what's going on with the pattern, because she's trying to explore herself. So I at least thought that she would seduce him as well, seeing that, it's something she never tried before. He's the only black guy in the movie. You think you know where this is going, all right? But it didn't go there. She went in his bedroom and everything. They talked, and then it was a waste of time. That scene was a waste of scene completely. I was like, what am I watching? Why is he in the movie? To do the one thing he did? Anybody could have done that. Anybody could have done that. And I have to add this in here. I'm not saying this because I'm not a big fan of his comedy. It's not funny, by the way, but that has nothing to do with the fact that they wasted his character. At least give him something to do. If he's not going to be funny, because he's not going to be funny, have him just be of some importance to the movie. Something. He was a complete waste of time. That's all I can say about that character. It was a complete waste of time. I hated that. I hated that they did that. They had a whole opportunity to explore with this character being the only black guy in the movie. Come on. You dropped the ball with that one, in my opinion. Another negative. The movie was dragging towards the end. It started to drag. It was a point in the theater when I was sitting back and I was like, how long is this movie going to be? I thought the movie can go ahead and wrap up now. It's been a minute. Yeah, they kept going on and on and on. You were wondering, where is this movie going to go? Where is this film leading us to? Mentally and visually, because I think that it's time to go ahead and call it quits and get those credits rolling up. And that's how I felt until the end of the movie, where I was like, oh, okay, so this is where they're going with it. All right, this is why they made it extra last long, because you wanted to show us this. You wanted to get to this part. Understandable. Okay, kind of understandable. I'm getting to that in a minute, but. Yeah, they had somewhere they were going with it, but there were some things in between all of that just could have been kept. It could have been kept to themselves. They could have cut some things out. Hey, learn how to edit and cut some things out of the movie. All right, put it on the DVD for the extras. Okay, behind the scenes stuff. Last negative. Not sure how I felt about the ending, even though the ending makes a lot of sense given the context of the movie. It's still a little odd for the ending. Let me put it like this: there's this. She meets up. Spoiler alert! First of all, she meets up with her past lover or husband from when the life she had before she was reborn, and he's a nutcase. He's a military nutcase who's ready to kill at any moment. And she starts to realize why she did what she had to do before she was reborn. And it's too late because she's already agreed to go back to his house. And so there's a lot of things going on in that scene that are just very uncomfortable, and this is reason for that. And, so when she figures out what she needs to do, and that happens, what she did at the end regarding to her ex-husband, I thought it would go a different way. I had a totally different idea how this is going to span out. And it could have worked that way too, but they decided to do it like this. All right. But I'm still giving this a hell yes. This movie is insane. I haven't seen something like this in a long time. Like I said, since the late 80s to the mid 90s, have they not done something this bold? This is a bold movie. I love it. This is what you're supposed to do. Don't hold back. Press that like button, share. You better subscribe.